Ugh. A little nervous. My friend pitched a movie idea to me over lunch, and I don't see him much anymore, so I don't feel bad telling you. If you're listening to this, though, don't take it the wrong way. The movie is all just one shot of a door, and it's angled in such a way that you can't see anyone from above the knees. It's about a guy, and every day a girl comes to his work, and he opens the door for her, and she never notices him. And every subsequent day, he'll have like flowers or something more grandiose to give to her. But eventually, she comes in with another guy. He's heartbroken. Another girl comes by, though, and grabs him by the arm, and she appreciates him. It's the happy ending he wanted because the guy gets what he wants. All my friends were like, yeah, that's sexist. And he was like, what? And I was like, why? And I think the reason that movie is sexist is best encapsulated in this other movie I saw recently called In the Mood for Love. Wong Kar-wai's In the Mood for Love is a story primarily about love, is what I would have said before I saw the movie. Ha ha, got you. In the Mood for Love isn't about love. If it were about love, it wouldn't be called In the Mood for Love, it would just be called Love. The part of the title that's actually most important is the part that says In the Mood for, because it's more indicative of the film's actual meaning. The film follows Chow, who lives with his wife in the same Hong Kong apartment as Su Li Zhen. She lives similarly with her husband. The movie follows the two at their attempt at romance after it's revealed that his wife is cheating on him with her husband. Isn't that gossip? When I first watched this movie, I assumed that they were going to end up together because that's how movies end, right? That's how The Notebook ends. That's how Harry Potter ends. That's how Spider-Man ends. That's how The Graduate ends. That's how Hitch ends. Have you seen Hitch? That's a great movie. It wasn't what I expected at all, actually. Su breaks up with Chow towards the end of the movie. He's heartbroken about it. Eventually, he goes up to a temple in the mountains to whisper a secret into a hole in the wall, and then he walks out of a corridor, and the movie ends. And I was really shocked because I didn't spend the whole movie waiting for them not to end up together. They don't even kiss throughout the whole movie, and though they spend a night together, it's implied they don't even have sex. My initial impression made it evident to me that the movie points out a very ugly idea within contemporary culture. The concept that it's a woman's responsibility to complete a man. In the Mood for Love weirdly talks about a lust for love and how selfish that lust can be. In the Mood for Love finds itself being less of a love story and more of a hero's journey, a story of personal development. The story, when diluted to its most basic elements, is actually focused on Chow getting over his wife cheating on him. And though he, by the end of the movie, clearly has feelings for her, their relationship has become complicated. It's being weighed down by baggage of the way they started, as a coping mechanism. In one scene, they both attempt to seduce each other while pretending to be their respective spouse in order to try and wrap their heads around how this could have happened. Director Wong Kar-wai masterfully crafts dialogue in the aforementioned scene in such a way that it's never clear whether they are being authentic or just acting as the person the other longs for. Slowly, Su starts to become a substitute for Chow's wife. And when you think about it, it was doomed to fail from the start. The very fact that they were being cheated on displays how they lack the ability to retain their spouse. Both are trying to negate the feeling that they aren't enough by trying to maintain the status quo of their lives where they still are with their spouse. But they find that they are not enough. Not enough for a fake relationship, not enough for a real relationship, not enough within themselves. And that's kind of sad. And if we look at the movie from the perspective of a hero's journey, a concept first presented in the 1949 novel The Hero of a Thousand Faces, we can understand how unsatisfying and contrary to the basic fundamentals of filmmaking, an ending where he ends up with Su would be. The hero's journey is a plot structure that has been in legends and media since, forever. The story of Gilgamesh, Greek mythology, etc. all follow this structure, and since the publishing of the novel, movies like Midnight Cowboy and Star Wars have followed suit. Dan Harmon, writer of Community and Rick and Morty, describes this concept like this.
You've got a character that you can identify with that has some kind of need, wish, incompletion, causes them to go across a threshold where the story changes direction. They go down a road of trials, searching for something. They find it, whether they like it or not. It kind of kicks their ass, and they come back to the world they started in, having changed. You need to go search for something, find it, take it, and then return. Changed.
The journey finds itself surprisingly applicable to In the Mood for Love, a movie that at first glance doesn't appear to be a hero's journey. For Chow, the completion of this arc would go something like this. A, he's a relatable protagonist. B, he feels inadequate about his wife leaving him. C, he goes into a fake romance with Su. D, he searches for love in Su. E, he finds it and neither of them like it. F, he gets his heart broken. G, he comes back to life as a single man. And finally, H, he's changed and now feels adequate and doesn't need a woman in his life to make him feel complete. If analyzed through the context of its genre, an ending where he ends up with Su would break the structure. It would mean the story would end at point D and any development would be gone. The movie would end without Chow growing as a person at all, never learning how to finally feel content with himself. The movie would actually be rewarding him for maintaining the status quo of his life and using someone else to maintain his confidence. He'd be doing all the wrong things and still getting all the things he wanted. This is the same way that the short film I described at the beginning feels empty and feels unfinished. A film where all the characters don't change, where there's no tension or development. If it's In the Mood for Love had an ending with him getting with Sue, what would have changed from the start of the movie? Nothing. In the Mood for Love doesn't punish you for watching the movie by not rewarding you with a romantic payoff, but punishes you for neglecting what the story is actually about. Chow's growth. And what I'm saying isn't that movies that end with the couple getting together are sexist. Like, that'd be crazy. Like, let's look at 500 Days of Summer. They're both movies about personal growth where a guy learns that he doesn't need a woman to feel complete. But at the end, he does end up with a new girl. But it's not because he maintained his ways. It's because he learned to change. And it's so ugly how even today we still see concepts like this. That it's the role of a woman to fulfill the shortcomings of her lover. When rapper Malcolm McCormick, better known by his stage name Mac Miller, died of an overdose earlier this year, fans stormed Twitter to attack his ex-girlfriend, singer-songwriter Ariana Grande. These detractors pointed to their breakup as cause for death, and Grande as the villain for leaving him, after he wrote albums about her. Ariana Grande lamented this behavior after days of radio silence, posting to her Twitter, "How absurd that you minimize female self-respect and self-worth by saying someone should remain in a toxic relationship because you wrote an album about them. I'm not a babysitter or a mother, and no woman should feel that they need to be. I have cared for him and tried to support his sobriety and prayed for his balance for years. But shaming women, blaming women, for a man's inability to keep his shit together is a major problem. And maybe, as filmmakers, we should take her advice and make the change we want to see. Thank you."